Question. Kim, this is a question I always wanted to ask you but couldn't formulate before. Will resolving my psychology make breaking free of all addiction easy and simple, or is it just wishful thinking? Well, the short answer is yes. But to explain that, we have to understand what is the cause of an addiction. So, what I explain in a number of videos is that in our subconscious mind, we have these patterns. I call them subconscious selves or separate selves. They're often created in past lives or in this life and result to difficult and traumatic situations. So, let's say in a past life you were exposed to a very traumatic situation that was so hurtful to you. It created so many negative emotions, difficult emotions, that you couldn't deal with it. You couldn't stand it. So you had to suppress these emotions. And in order to do this, you created several of these subconscious selves to suppress the emotions. But the original emotions are still there, and once in a while they threaten to break through and overwhelm you. And you have now created other subconscious selves that project at you that through some kind of chemical substance, alcohol, drugs, whatever, or sex or whatever, you can dull yourself so you suppress the emotions. So you have an original trauma that caused you to create a subconscious self that's projecting something at you. Could be that you made a mistake, a terrible mistake, and it creates these emotions. Then you have some subconscious selves that are suppressing it. And this is what causes the psychological component of the addiction. I'm not denying that there's a certain physical component of the addiction, but the physical is always lower down than the psychological, as I explained. There are 4 levels of the material universe. The highest is the identity level, where your sense of identity is. Then there's the mental level, your thoughts. Then there's the emotional level, your feelings, and then there's the physical. So even the physical component of an addiction comes after the psychological components, meaning if you remove the psychological components, it will be much easier to overcome the physical aspect of the addiction. So basically what I'm saying is, if you want to really overcome an addiction, you have to start looking at the psychological mechanisms, these subconscious selves. Not only the ones that are projecting at you that you need relief, or you deserve relief, or it's necessary to have relief, or whatever, but you have to actually go to the original trauma. And I have videos where I talk about that. I have my whole playlist about avatar psychology, where I talk about trauma and how to overcome it. I have also some breakthrough videos where I talk about these traumas and how to overcome the subconscious selves. And in many cases, if you have a severe addiction, it can be necessary to go into therapy and get somebody else's input on it, because they might be able to see something you can't see yourself. But nevertheless, the idea here is an addiction is not normal, it's not natural, right? It's not natural to be addicted to a chemical substance, for example. So it has a cause in the psychology that started with some kind of trauma and is now in these subconscious selves. And as I said, the subconscious selves are based on an illusion. And the way to resolve them is to eventually come to see that illusion. It may require you to dissolve the energies before you can see the illusion. But once you see the illusion and resolve the subconscious self, there's nothing left in your psychology once you have resolved the subconscious selves that pulls you into an addiction. You don't need the addiction. There are actually people who have, sometimes spontaneously, by simply observing themselves, but other times as a result of traumatic events, or sometimes as a result of therapy, working on it, they've come to a point where they suddenly saw something in their psychology, however they could put words on it, but they saw something, saw some mechanism. This is what I call a subconscious self. They came to see it, and they just saw it was an illusion and let it go of it, and their addiction was gone. They could just walk away from it. And so basically the answer is yes. Will resolving my psychology make breaking free of all addiction easy and simple? I would almost say it's the unresolved psychology that pulls you into the addiction. And once you remove the pull, you don't have to break free of the addiction. There's nothing that pulls you into it. So why do it? It may require a decision where you say, no, this is it, I don't need this anymore. But it's not really, you're not really breaking free once you have resolved the psychology, because it was the psychology that pulled you into the addictive behavior.